So we're going to do a lower leg today, and I'm going to get right into it so we can hopefully film this in a quick amount of time. So she hasn't been sugaring. She was shaving before this, and she has hair that you can really see. So that's going to be good for this video. So you spray down well, then take a dry wipe and wipe the skin off. And I'm going to be careful because she said there's a few areas that are a little bit irritated on her. And I'm going to do my best. Okay, so powder. Don't use the hand you're going to grab the sugar with. This camera is touching the table a little bit, so if it wiggles now and then, that's why. So sugaring's going to be a little bit messy. It's going to get a little powder everywhere, and you just have to not be afraid of a little bit of a mess. Here is the amount of sugar. So you need a pretty big ball if you're going to speed sugar legs. I'm going to start on this side. We seem to have something next door if you can hear any of these sounds on the camera. So it's important to do this in kind of a grid. And her hair is long, so when I lift off, which I'm going to have to do, because her hair is going to be resistant because it hasn't been sugared. So when you lift off, make sure you ask if it's pulling, and when you're molding, it's pulling. Okay. She's not looking forward to this because it's been a long time. Okay. So you're probably going to want to mold twice, and you're going to see some of the shorter ones are going to stick in there when it's been a long time. So you may have to go back and do a little bit of detail work. I'll show you as much of that as I can. So you need to mold slow enough that it doesn't pull the hair. So she can wave her hand at me if she's feeling pulling when I'm lifting off or while I'm molding. And it's really important, I say this in all my videos, pressure is going to be really important on her because it's been a long time. Also, you know, making sure that the molding portion is not torturous. It might be hard to see this side. She's trying to turn for you. So, filming, I'm going to have a professional photographer help me at some point, but we're using a really good HD camera now, and it's challenging to film without it on a stand. So when people have gone from shaving to sugaring, this first time it's gonna hurt and the hair is gonna grow in, you know, not like it will after they get on a schedule. So some of the short ones that aren't coming out may not come out this time, and you know, the client just kind of needs to be prepared by you to come back in on a schedule, and that their leg is not going to be perfect until they stay on a schedule. So on a lower leg, I usually go right above the knee. And my model, did you scrub this week? Okay. So her roots are just going to be a little bit resistant because she's been shaving, but something else that'll slow you down with people that are transitioning or people who've done hair removal, they need to be scrubbing and scrubbing regularly, even if they don't have any issues with ingrowns. So you can see me going back now real quick and getting these little strips. So everybody's hair is going to be different. You're going to have these easy clients where it all comes off in one little swoop. And then you're going to have clients where you need to make sure you book time until you know clients for the worst case scenario. So you see I moved across the leg in a grid, and that's what you need to do. Make sure you do pressure, like I said, after you pull each area. This time, because it's been a while, is definitely gonna smart. And for things like Brazilians and smaller areas where it's not dangerous to put a whole bunch of numbing cream on, people who really need numbing cream, give it to them. There's no reason they shouldn't have a better experience. I just had a client this week that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, her pain level was at a 10, you know, for the whole Brazilian. And I gave her the numbing cream and said, get back on the schedule. And she's never been able to wax regularly because of the pain. So it was so thankful to have the numbing cream. Some of them aren't safe for large areas. It can be dangerous. So make sure on legs and large areas that you don't put on numbing cream and wrap yourself in plastic. That can actually be fatal. So knees tend to leave a lot of hair behind, so you usually need to go over people's knees a couple times. All right, I'm gonna check the camera. That leg's clean, and this leg's not quite in there. There we go. Perfect. You can actually perform the sugar, you know, from one side of the bed, but when the camera's not there, I prefer to go to the other side of the bed so I don't have to do as much reaching. So this is not going to be a quick, you know, super speedy sugar because this is her first time doing this. So there's actually a little bit of moisture on this side. That's why the sugar didn't come off easily. She's probably sweating a little bit because this hurts. So you need to, this is a dry wipe that has a little bit of powder on it, and you need to repowder and then use a dry wipe with the powder. The wipe helps wick up the sweat under the surface. This leg's been sitting here, you know, getting damp while I was doing the other side. So you could see how the sugar didn't just whip off quickly, and that was because of the sweat. So you really have to flick. If you're seeing me flick hard, you've got to flick when people have really resistant hair. I'm being careful around her ankle on this side because there's a little bit of something going on, some kind of irritation. So part of why my sugar was also being a little difficult is I'm on the wrong side of the bed and I needed to flick really hard. So if you're a brand new esthetician that's learning this, you've got to learn to put a lot of force into your flick. So on large areas and areas that are really dense, you're gonna need the muscle power, you know. So get good at your flick. It also makes your service go faster because when you flick hard, the sugar, it comes off, a larger portion of the sugar comes off in one pull, if that makes sense. If you don't flick hard, then a little bit will come off, a little, and then a little more, and then a little more, instead of 2 or 3 big amounts of sugar like this. See? Oop. That got a little stuck, so go to the highest point, flick. Okay, not only are they deeper in the follicle, but they are also, there's more hair there. So when they come on a 3-week schedule, 1/3 of the hair that will be there the original time they come will not be grown in. It takes a long time for all the hair to grow back in when you're on the schedule. So this is 1 ball of sugar with warm sugar, but at this point there's no way that you could get away with the same ball. You'd be adjusting it. So this is part of why cold sugar is much more speedy and less wasteful. So you can see I'm moving right along. Now my sugar is nice and gummy. Oop. So right here where it's gotten stuck, we haven't repowdered and wiped the sweat out of that area. She's gonna have just a couple little shorties that she'll probably have to shave. And then once she's back on a cycle, that won't be a problem. So try to pick up all the excess sugar, roll across the skin. You see how gently I'm tapping all this sugar off, because when she rolls over here, she's gonna stick to all this. legs.
Yay.
Lower legs at least. Okay. Alright, so we're to the back now. You can clean and powder the backs from the front, but I knew she might sweat a little bit, so I didn't do that because now this area needs to be cleaned of all of the moisture. She's not sweating a lot, but enough that, you know, by the time you get back here, you're going to need to repowder, and just cleaning that sweat off is a better idea. And it really doesn't, you know, cost you any time on someone who's prone to a little more sweating. So the backs of the legs are really fast. There's only a strip about this wide on the legs. Oop. So a piece of sugar dropped onto my table, you just pick it up really fast. Just tap it and pick it up. If you put your sugar down too hard onto the table, it'll just all get stuck. And if it does get stuck to the table, put a 4x4 over it. So this leg, because she is not on schedule and the hair is resistant, so we're having to go over some areas a few times, you know, that'll probably take you another 5 or 10 minutes to do. And then you're going to have these really picky clients where you go, okay, check, you know, see if you see any hair anywhere. And I've had clients that almost take advantage of that, but I suggest you do it because you don't want angry clients calling up saying, I found a big patch of hair and I'm upset about it. Have them check before they go. And that way, if they find something, oops, they'll know that that got onto her heel. If that happens, do not try to sugar it off the heel. There's no hair there. Just wipe it with water. I'm actually glad all these little things are happening, like sugar dropping on the table, sugar getting stuck on sweat. These are all real life sugaring issues. That's why it's an art. So her hair grows in different directions. You need to follow the direction of growth and go the exact opposite direction. And you can see how fast I'm molding. So with warm sugar by now, your sugar would be so stiff that there's no way you could mold like this. She has a few hairs here where I think she needs to just scrub the back of her knee a little bit more. There we go. Estheticians don't always love doing legs because they're hard work. So I'm going to do what I can from this side. I may actually need to come on to the other side, you know, from this angle to do some of the hair that's growing. So if you pull the strip like I just did and then there's a couple hairs that didn't come out, you can actually just not pull the whole strip off like I did and remold back onto those hairs a couple times, and sometimes that way you don't have to go back over the area. Oops. She's got moist skin, so the sugar gets softer and softer when people sweat because the moisture slowly mixes into the sugar and it makes the sugar soft. And that's with any sugar, warm sugar too. Okay, we're almost done. I'm going to come to the other side, see if I can work this here. Yes, I can do it. Okay, we're all done, so I'm going to clean the legs and wrap it up. I'm just taking my sugar glove off. You have to take your sugar glove off. Put a little bit of distilled water first on a wipe. Spray the legs. And then after this, you put the balm on.
Do you get the front this way too?
No, we'll turn you over. Okay, you can go ahead and flip over. Just gonna check the camera here. Come towards me. Okay. So white people really good. The lemon juice can be a little bit irritating. And then if you wipe off the sugar and all the junk off your glove, you can either apply the balm with your glove if you've cleaned it, or you can apply it with a 4x4. I usually prefer a 4x4, but doing it with the glove I'll show you because I haven't really showed that. Don't ever, 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 ever use your bare hands with open follicles. You are definitely going to be sweating sometimes. You may use a little less balm, but make sure you take, the toner and your wipe and you clean off all the residue of sweat, bacteria, and there we go. Oh, alrighty. Thank you.